Hello everybody, this is Muhammad Al-Amin Mahmood Khan from Queensland, Australia. Today I'm here to discuss and present the topic Inspiration and Faith. As a doctoral student of International University of Morality, I intend to promote inspiration and faith all over the world. Today I'm here to share some ideas and articles from experts which are following. How to inspire yourself from WikiHow, How to inspire yourself in 2 steps by Stephen Guys, 7 ways to inspire yourself from lifeoptimizer.org, 17 ways to motivate yourself to do great things by Paul B. Brown, the simplest ways to inspire people and change their life by Daniel Wallen, top 10 ways to inspire others to be their best by Michael Angia, Finding Your Meaning of Life, inspirational video by TJOP, Nick Vizek, best life-changing inspirational video of all time from YouTube, Steve Jobs' inspirational speech from YouTube, Have Faith, Empowering Yourself and Live a Happy Life by Austin Robinson, How to Have Faith in What Can Go Right by Steve Q. Whitshire, How to Have Faith in Attracting Your True Love by CreativeLab.com, The Role of Faith in Buddhism from http://www.arrowweaver.ca, The Meaning of Faith in Islam by Dr. Christian Srimacha, The 3 Stages of Faith in Hinduism by Satrugu Badanita Venala Swami, Faith in Christianity from Wikipedia. These are all the articles and the videos I will try to cover up on my presentation. At the very first of the video, I would like to discuss how to inspire yourself in 2 steps. When you're not feeling it, what happens? It is a hopeless situation, or you can go pull yourself out of it. How can you pull yourself out of it? How often do you succeed? I'm talking about self-inspiration. Self-inspiration is the ability to take yourself from bored to passionate, from stringent to active, from discouraged to excited. It doesn't depend on external assistance. Self-inspiring people can inspire themselves and likely others anytime, anywhere. Self-inspiring people get things done, who have so much help available to us online and elsewhere. As such, it is tempting to look outside of ourselves for all of the answers. But as I have said before, we already have most of the answers if we are willing to think deeply, very deeply. This includes inspiration. We all have the potential to inspire ourselves. Inspiration doesn't always need to come from within, but most of it should. To depend on external stimuli to inspire you will frequently leave you disappointed and unproductive. You won't always find a perfect article. Your fans won't always know how the magical words to say you to make you inspire. Look to yourself first to find inspiration. It's a good idea to practice. There are 2 ways to self-inspire: focusing on positive outcomes and removing hurdles. If you do both of these steps in relation to any single goal or task, you will be inspired to do it. Go ahead and pick something what you want to do to be inspired about. Have it in mind while you read on this. Let's go for step 1, self-inspire by focusing on positive outcomes. When we picture ourselves wearing the gold medal for the 100 million dash, the prize will inspire you to work hard. It's not just for the glamorous activities either. Just today, I inspired myself to clean the kitchen. I didn't feel like doing it, but I pictured how happy it would make my mom and how much more enjoyable it would be for me to fix food in a clean kitchen, as an example. How simple, right? Most answers in life are simple, but simple solutions are not always evident in the moment of struggle. How many times have I not cleaned the kitchen in the scenario? Too many times. Much of our success in life, financial, relational, physical, organizational, comes down to our habits. If you can get into the habit of focusing on positive outcomes rather than excuses, you will achieve more positive outcomes. I can recall 3 excuses I had not to clean the kitchen. In retrospect, I'm glad I ignored them and I focused on the positive outcomes. If this step works, you are done. You have successfully inspired yourself to complete a meaningful task. Or maybe you have just gotten yourself excited about life by thinking of what the exciting opportunities and events that are in your future. But what if it's enough to focus on the positive outcome? It's true, sometimes the excuses and the obstacles cannot be ignored. These might be deeply rooted and weighty or just so large in number that you are not comfortable to discard them at all. What can we do? We can go for step 2. Self-inspire by removing hurdles. Think of sometimes you are having trouble being inspired for. Are you looking general life inspiration to write a book, or inspiration to get in shape? Whatever it is, once you're focused on the issue, you need to dissect it to find possible reasons for your lack of enthusiasm. There are likely several emotional blocks, excuses, and fears to deal with. Good news, this can be thought through and defeated. At first, I thought of inspiration as the realization of something positive, like being inspired to paint when seeing a great painting. There is, however, another way to inspiration works. If we can simply remove the negative obstacles that are in our way, the freedom that is naturally generated will be inspiring. In other words, we automatically become more inspired when we see that light at the end of the tunnel. As we see more light removing obstacles, like our inspiration increases. Imagine seeing no restraints in pursuing your dreams. Now, that is inspiring. As an example, I want to get rid of more things right now, but I'm struggling. There are hurdles in my path, but I signed up for the 100 million dash. The hurdles must be removed for me to want to race. Hurdles. There are so many other things I want to do. Saying overwhelmed to myself. Solution. Define the other things that might be more important right now. If I determine there are more important tasks, I'll focus on them first. If there is nothing else more important to do, I know that I can focus on this one thing because multitasking is ineffective. I don't know where to begin. Say we are blocked by mental. So I'll choose the tackle one area first. The bookshelf on the right. Now I know where to begin. Say start from one side. Then we can go begin ourselves. And let's say I don't know what level of minimalism to go for. Say fear of doing too far or not far enough. Upon further thinking, I do have a good idea what I'm going for. I want to be mentally aware of every of them. A one invalid excuse. It feels like there are some emotional blocks present. Say emotional block could be the reason behind it not to inspire myself. In the past, once I started working, the emotional block subsided. So I'll just start and trust they will fade this time. What if I get rid of something I need later? So this is the fear of future. That is unlikely, but it has happened before. What is happened, it was still worth it because the tremendous benefit of minimalism. Also, if I'm selling many of my profession, I can buy things I need later with the money I made. Let's say I'm feeling lazy now. That is the biggest excuse I could think of. It will go away once I start. I must think about how happy and energized I'll be once I've passed many times. As a reward, I can watch a TV show or play video games tonight for my effort after I finish. What if I fail? Say, this is a fear of failure. I just got rid of 2 trash bags full of stuff and took it to Goodwill. That tells me I'm making real progress. Even if I didn't have that experience, it is certainly worth a try to give it tangible benefits. So before we start, we should not fear about something that if we fail. Now, as we can see, the real-time example, many of my inhabitants were easily overcome, and I'm inspired to get rid of things now. Inspiration is the complete feeling of freedom to do something good. If we can quell our internal doubts about accomplishing something and are left with no more excuses, we'll be inspired to gain the benefits of doing it. When you are looking into a goal, there will always be obstructions on the road to get there. Some of them are real. You will have to jump over, run through, or go around them. But most will be imaginary obstacles that your mind creates out of irrational fear. I went through those doubts all by myself. I find it easier to do when I write it down. When there are 10 doubts involved, it is absolutely necessary to process them outside of your mind. Practice by writing down doubts that you may know are holding you back, and one goal at a time. Match every doubt that springs up with the logical solution or counter argument. When you finally see a mostly open road ahead of you, the way to your goal, you will be inspired to walk towards it. You might even be inspired to sprint towards it. And after doing that, I would like to discuss the meaning of faith in Islam. Westerners often assume that the Muslim faith rests only on the obedience of strict rules and regulations but has no place for a living faith on the heart. How do the Quran and the Islamic teachers define faith in God? Does the Muslim have assurance of his salvation? In the Quran, the term faith means to consider something to be sure and reliable. Without doubting, faith can only be given by God and means above all that a human being acknowledges Allah's greatness and superiority, his own position as God's servants, who owes him gratitude for his mercy towards man. He has created the heavens and the earth with truth. He has created man from sperm drop and cattle he has created for you. From them you are derived one the numerous benefits and of their meat you eat. And yet have a sense of pride and beauty in them as you drive them home in the evening. And yes, you lead them forth to pasture in morning, and they carry your heavy loads to land that you could not otherwise reach except with soul's distress. For your Lord is indeed most kind, most merciful, and he has created horses, mules, and donkeys for you to ride as an adornment, and he has created other things of which you have no knowledge. Surah 16, 3 plus 4 dash 5 minus 8. Compared with the whole section, Surah 16:1-21. In general, the Quran divides humanity into two groups: the Muslims, the believers of Arabic al-Mu'minun, and the non-Muslims, the unbelievers of Arabic al-Kafirun. The unbeliever is ungrateful towards God and his goodness, above all towards his gift of revelation, the Quran. The believer, however, gives the thanks he owes Allah by honoring him as source of all goodness and by recognizing his revelation as law. It is fate of individuals that decide his fate at the day of judgment, whether he will enter paradise or hell. That belief is essential to salvation is accepted by all schools of Muslim theology. Opinions differ, though, on the constitution of faith. Possibilities include the inner conviction of the truth of revelation of God without any public confession being necessary. The declaration of the Islamic confession of faith combined with the inner conviction of the heart. The fulfillment of the prescribed Muslim duties. The Muslim conviction of faith combined with the fulfillment of Muslim duties, good works. The declaration of Muslim confession of faith, inner conviction of, and good works. Faith in need. The Quran clearly condemns those who call upon God only when in need or forget him afterwards. Surah 39:8 says, for example, when some trouble toucheth man, the crieth unto his Lord, turning to him in repentance. But when he bestoweth a favor upon him as from himself, man doth forget what he cried and prayed for before, and he doth set up rebels unto Allah, thus misleading others from Allah's path. Say, enjoy the display from a little while. Verily, thou art one of the companions of the fire. God thus demands faith out of gratitude towards man's creator and not out of calculation in a momentary situation of need. A true Muslim, in the actual sense of word, is one who continuously trusts in divine assistance and support and does not wait until an emergency to arise before seeking him. For example, the Quran condemns the Arabic Bedouins who confess Islam publicly but who do not believe in their hearts. The desert Arab says, we believe. Say, yeah, have faith, no faith, but only say that we have submitted our wills to Allah, for not yet has faith entered your hearts. Surah 49:14. In the same way, the Quran condemns the feigned belief of the hypocrites, Arabic munafiqun, who profess to be Muslim in order to enjoy its privileges. Bukhari, a collector of Islamic tradition, wrote the religious teaching consists of three elements: the contents of faith, the practice of Islam, and the interrelation of this practice, so that the individual always as if he were in the presence of God. Faith and acts. The majority of Muslim theologians teach that the Islamic faith is more than either a mental agreement with certain facts or a mechanical obedience of certain rules, but rather a personal dedication of God's will and the recognition of His sovereignty. This has consequences for his behavior in the family, in society, and in the state. Without question, the Islamic faith cannot be described as a mere external membership to a religious group or as a theoretical agreement with a particular dogmas. According to the Quran, Holy Quran, particular dates and behaviors are essential aspects of faith and more demanded of every Muslim. The 5 pillars of Islam come to mind first, of course. The confession of faith, prayer 5 times daily, alms, fasting in the month of Ramadan, and the pilgrimage to Mecca, which is called Hajj. But beyond these requirements, the Quran describes other practical expression in faith in Allah. Surah 2:177 concludes, "But it is right in us to believe in Allah and the last day and the angels and the book and the messenger, to spend of your substance out of love for Him, for your kin, for orphans, for needy, for the wayfarer, and for those who ask, and for the ransom of slaves, to be steadfast in prayer and give zakat." Surah 23:1-11 promises paradise to the believer who prays humbly, who has no sexual relation to women other than his one wife and slaves, who uses wealth entrusted to him honestly, who does his duty and prays. The Islamic confession of faith. Beside the individual rules of behavior, the Quran does not formulate any particular dogmas in the Muslim must believe in order to consider a believer, since there were no official councils held or doctrinal decision made in Islam as the early centuries of New Testament Christianity. No official confession of faith binding on all Muslims was ever formulated. In contrast to the detailed apostolic and Nissan's Christ and Christianity, the first pillar of Islam contains only 2 points: the belief in the existence of Allah and believe in Muhammad's prophetic office. I confess that there is no God besides Allah and Muhammad is his prophet. For this reason, there are usually only 3 or 4 statements of faith required of every Muslim: the belief that there is only one God, the belief that Muhammad is his prophet, the belief that every human being must appear before God at the last judgment day, the belief in angels, the belief in holy books of revelation. Above and beyond these statements, Muslim theologians have collected basic dogmas such as the sinlessness and the prophets of absolute sovereignty of God, which are generally accepted in Muslim theology, but have never been formulated into a statement of faith binding on all believers. The well-known Reformist theologian of the 19th century, Muhammad Rashid Rida, 1865 to 1935, who lived in Cairo, defined Islamic faith as an act of worship, the care of avoid bad and blameworthy deeds, the respect, right, and justice in social relationship, and to purify the soul or prepare it for the future life. In a word, it consists of all the laws whose aim is to bring man near to God. To conclude, there is a comparison of those statements about faith from the Quran and from Muslim theologies with those of the Bible demonstrates similarities as well as differences. The Bible also presents faith and more mere acceptance of various regulations. A theoretical agreement with the dogmas or a membership in a religious group, on the other hand, biblical faith could be a call for unshakable trust in God, rather than a merely humble recognition of God's sovereignty, as it is the firm belief which does not doubt but becomes sure before it says it considers explanatory in Bible. However, 11:1 defines faith as substance of things held for the evidence of things not seen. At the same time, the Bible makes it clear that the faith can never be a mere acknowledgement of dogmatic precepts. You believe that there is one God, you do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. James 2:19. Rather, biblical faith is conviction which expresses itself in the person's actions. But do you want to know? The Bible also calls bearing fruit. He who abides in me and I am in him bears much fruit. Just to conclude that Islamic faith Muslims believes on the faith, and Christian Bibility has the faith at the same time. Almost shows that there is one God, and we have to have faith in it, whoever believe in whatever religions. The role of faith in Buddhism. The Dhamma of the Buddha is not a religion of a blind faith. It is far more demanding than that. It is a religion of experience, of exploration, of discovery. The Buddha said that he's teaching us Efisko, which means the calm of a sea. The calm and sea. Few of the great teachers in history have made such a bold and confident claim. His teachings not only withstand methodological examination that demand it. Because of this, the role of faith faculty in Buddhism may be difficult to grasp. Faith is a key factor in the list of wholesome states. It is one of the uplifting enlightenment factors, together with the related states of joy and energy. It is also one of the spiritual faculties. To be balanced with the disclaiming wisdom, without wisdom, faith becomes superstition, just as without faith, wisdom is only low cunning, which justifies the defilement. If I might make a purely personal observation, having lived in a one kind of practice situation or another for 20 years and been involved in teaching others for the last few, I can help noticing some meditators make great progress quickly, some struggles for years, little or no results. I've been putting some serious thought into what might be common factors which determines in the difference the role in Bible faith in Buddhism says. The question naturally arises, faith in what exactly? According to the faith in Buddhism, I would like to suggest 3 things we ought to have faith in. Looking at this question strictly from the practical viewpoint of progress in meditation, the yogi must first of all have faith in the practice. Without this confidence, you will get nowhere in an actual retreat situation. This also implies faith in a teacher and his instruction. If you can feel complete confidence in the teacher, then find another teacher. You won't get anywhere if you question the meditation instruction at all the time. For the duration of that retreat, just surrender and do it. The second thing that the Buddhists must have faith in to succeed in the third noble truth. There is an end to suffering. This is, I think, the only metaphysical belief that is absolutely essential indeed. It may very well be the only one that is not actually hindrance. It is not something susceptible and logical proof, only to the confirmation of direct realization. The third and final element of essential faith is for many of us most difficult. It is one as we can struggle with ourselves for many years. You must somehow find faith in yourself. Many people can happily believe that the Buddha or Ajahn Chah Krishnamurti was enlightened, but that they could never do it. We need to recognize that this is a form of egoism. Why do you think you are anyway to be the only sentient being in the universe without seed of Buddhahood? And after that, I would like to discuss the faith in Christianity. Faith in Christianity is a central notion taught by Jesus himself in reference to the God news. In the understanding of Jesus, it was an act of trust and self-abandonment in which people no longer rely on their own strength. According to the Wikipedia French Encyclopedia, some of the definition of the history of Christian theology have followed the biblical formulation in Hebrews 11:1. The assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. As in other Abrahamic religions, it includes a belief in existence of God in the reality of transcendent domain that God administers as his kingdom, in the benevolence and will of God for God's plan in humankind. Christianity differs from the Abrahamic religions in that it focuses on the teachings of Jesus and his place of prophesied. The precise understanding of the term faith differs among the various Christian traditions. Despite these differences, Christians generally agree that faith in Jesus lies at the core of Christian traditions, and that such faith is required in order to be a Christian. Faith in Jesus and as belief, trust, and reliance. In the Protestant tradition, faith is generally understood to be closely associated with ideas and belief, trust, and reliance. This understanding is found in the doctrinal statement of the Reforms, or one of their confessional statement. Faith in Jesus as faithfulness, loyalty, and commitment. In recent decades, scholars have researched what piety meant in social context of the New Testament writers. Several scholars who have studied in the usage of piety in both early Greek manuscripts and the New Testament have concluded that faithfulness is the most satisfactory English translation in many instances. The recent researchers has completed some of the argue that the Testament faith and belief in Jesus should be understood in terms of faithfulness. Faith, when you talk about faith, faith is a supernatural act. Faith is claimed to be a supernatural act performed by the divine grace. It is the act of intellect assenting to the divine truth owing to the movement of the will, which it itself moved by the grace of God. And faith is not blind. We believe, says the Vatican Council III, that revelation is true, not indeed because the instruction truth of mysteries is clearly seen by the natural light of reason, but because of the authority of God who reveals them. For he can neither deceive nor be deceived. Justification not by faith alone. In the Catholic Church, justification is granted by the God and baptism firstly, instead of plainly by faith and the form of sacrament of recognition after, if a moral sin is committed. Now I'm going to talk about faith in Hinduism at last. Hinduism is recognized in the Baha'i faith as one of the 9 known religions, and its scriptures are regarded as predicting income of Kalki Avatar. Krishna is included in the succession of manifestation of God. The authenticity of Hindu scripture is seen as uncertain. Scriptural references. Baha'u'llah was familiar with Hinduism, which is clear for a tablet for Mirza Abul Fadl, the English translation of which is included in the volume of Unity. In the tablet, Baha'u'llah answered question about Hinduism and Zoroastrianism by Meneki Limezi Hataria. The subject include competitive religion and constitute, while much remains implicit, a dialogue of Baha'u'llah meant with the unity of world religions. Teachings from Brahma God. The Hinduism of Brahma is believed to be the absolute reality. The followers of Vedanta see Brahman as an impersonal reality, of which its soul, Atma, is a part. In theistic tradition in Hinduism, which include Vaishnavism, Shivism, consider Brahma as a personal God, whom they call Bhagavan, Ishwar, or Lord. According to the Baha teaching, these different views are all valid, as they represent different points of view looking at the absolute reality. Avatar of God. Both Hinduism and Baha faith teaches God manifests himself in different types and places, thus messengers are termed and avatar. Hinduism and manifestations of God in Baha. Ethical and moral teachings. There are many similarities in the ethical and moral teaching of Hinduism and the Baha faith. These include subjects contemplation, detachment, faith, love, non-violence, purity, respect for parents, right and use, self-control, right speech, not stealing, truth, virtue, work as worship. After talking about some major religions, we can see that faith and love in our world is almost as same directed from the religions, from the major religions. So let's follow and have faith in ourselves, inspire ourselves for the future to be successful, and not to doubt in our own capability. So let's hope for the best. We can inspire ourselves and get a better life and be successful in our life. That'll be all from my side today. Thank you very much. Have a good one.